decision without being properly informed. This is why this world wants to control the media. This is why media hype can take you up, take you down. So you don't know anymore who's really good, because the media can make a wicked man look good and make a good man look evil. That is why.
Good evening, welcome, assalamu alaikum. You are watching the Final Call News Hour. I am your illustrious host, Brother Herman Muhammad. The Final Call News Hour is the partner of the Final Call newspaper and the Final Call online edition that you can visit at finalcalldigital.com. Subscribe today. It's only 99 cents. You save 50% off of what you would normally pay. So go ahead and subscribe today. finalcalldigital.com. The Final Call newspaper, by the way, is the most widely distributed newspaper, black-owned newspaper on the planet, and also serves as the communications organ of the Nation of Islam. I am your host, Herman Muhammad, and today we're going to be coming out of issue number, what issue are we at in? Volume number 40, issue number 1, and it reads, let me give you a shot of this: Presidential Crisis, American Chaos. News that Donald Trump has coronavirus, which may have spread to the top level officials and aides, causes concern, uncertainty about the 2020 election and federal governance, alongside questions about both the GOP and the Democratic contenders for the White House and the future of the country. And you need to see pages 2, 3, and 16 for coverage of this presidential conference. And again, this is the Final Call News Hour. I am your host, Herman Muhammad. And we want to just chop it up today. Haven't seen you in a while. We're going to start putting out these shows on a more regular basis, especially in light of what's going on with regards to the news, with regards to what's going on with the Nation of Islam, the Final Call newspaper in particular, and social media, which you all know is the way that most of us nowadays in 2020 are getting our news. We don't get our news via the ABC boys anymore, or the alphabet boys, as we call them, ABCs, NBCs, CBSs, and Foxes of the world. We might peek in on them every now and again, but for the most part, most of our people, especially young people, get the news via social media. So I tweeted this the other day, and we're going to get into this issue, but this is all related. I tweeted this I posted this, well, I tweeted it as well, but posted it via my Instagram. And this is a post that came across my feed that I actually shared. YouTube deleted the Nation of Islam and Final Call News channels. They deleted the Nation of Islam and the Final Call News channels from YouTube. And before we get into this, if you're watching via YouTube, because they still haven't deleted my channel, go ahead and hit like, share, and subscribe so that we can keep sharing this positive content and so that we can also continue to be a vehicle for the message of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. They could delete the Final Call News, and they could delete the Nation of Islam's news channels, of course, but they have not, as of yet, deleted all of those who follow the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. But we do need to know and understand that we are absolutely at war. And so I wanted to ask this question to you all. Why do you think that they deleted the Final Call newspapers channel and the Nation of Islam's channel from YouTube? Why have they banned the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan from Facebook? These are all legitimate questions. Why did they ban the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan from Instagram? Why did they de-verify, as if they could verify the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan? Why did they de-verify his Twitter account? They may have even banned that one too. But we see this assault coming on the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Nation of Islam, the Final Call newspaper, from these social media platforms. Ask yourself the question, why? And we're going to get back to that. And I'm going to tell you why. But Donald Trump has coronavirus. Donald Trump has coronavirus. Let's give you a shot of your president. And we don't want to make mockery, but we could all kind of see that coming. Him having all of these super spreader events where no one is wearing masks or physical or social distancing. We kind of saw this whole COVID-19 affliction coming to his door. But this particular article with Donald Trump having or contracting, now being infected with COVID-19, and the ensuing controversy appears on, it starts on page 2 of this edition of the Final Call. And let me give you a shot of this Final Call newspaper. Again, this is the current issue, Presidential Crisis, American Chaos. And it starts on page 2, and I just want to read a little bit of it. President's COVID-19 diagnosis raises questions, sparks skepticism and anger. And it's written by our brother, who's the senior editor of the Final Call newspaper, Brother Askia Muhammad. And he writes, Donald J. Trump never fails to excite the world of politics. Mr. Trump, still likely carrying the deadly COVID-19 virus, triumphantly returned to the White House, discarded his mask, and declared over Twitter he was doing well and possibly immune to the deadly virus. After 3 days at Walter Reed Military Hospital, the president landed on the south lawn of the White House via helicopter October 5th. He was admitted after he and First Lady Melania Trump were struck by the virus. It's suspected that a mass infection resulted from a mostly maskless, crowded, super spreader event during an announcement of the president's pick for the Supreme Court. The White House became a coronavirus hotspot with high-level staffers, lower-level workers, senators, a university president, and other high-profile guests. Presidential debate coaches, journalists working at the White House, and others who have been in close proximity to the president or aides testing positive for COVID-19. The president also participated, listen to this, in a fundraising event at his Bedminster, New Jersey golf resort on October 1st after he reportedly already knew he was infected. It's feared that more COVID-19 cases will come out of that trip, and there were questions about whether the president was COVID positive during his September 27th debate with Democratic presidential hopeful Joe Biden. And the story goes on and on. I'm talking about COVID-19, the number of cases that we currently have in the United States, which are, there's over 7 million Americans are infected with COVID-19, and there are over 214,000 who have succumbed or died from COVID-19. Most of them with other pre-existing conditions to go along with that virus. But just today, the president had a COVID-19 jubilee at the White House where he was expecting 2,000 people, but only 300 showed up, led by our sister conservative Candace Owens, where they apparently paid black and brown people's way to DC, and they put them up in hotels while they were there. And these people, got the presidential garb, the T-shirts, the Make America Great Again hats, and they were, having a good old COVID time on the White House lawn. Even though President Trump is still infected with a deadly virus. Now, why? We're going to get to that. And you can read that on page 2 of the Final Call newspaper. And it's very interesting. But again, I want to go back to that question that I raised first when we first started this conversation. Why would YouTube delete the Final Call and the Nation of Islam's YouTube channels? Here's the thing. Because we just heard in the news about the militia in Michigan trying to kidnap the governor, having this kidnapping and death plot for her. And thankfully, that plot was foiled by the government. At least this is what they're reporting. There have been a number of other organizations and different types of groups that have been banned from social media because they are quote unquote danger to the society, and their ideas are dangerous, and so they don't want that type of rhetoric on the internet, so they ban these groups. QAnon comes to mind. Alex Jones, a known so-called conspiracy theorist, comes to mind. There are a number of right-wing racist organizations that come to mind. Yet, it's very interesting. When it comes to the Nation of Islam, in this country, we have a 90-year history of being in this country among these people, teaching a teaching that is very public, that is very reformatory where our people are concerned, meaning that it's a program that reforms and lifts up black people, and really anyone who would listen. However, they lump us in with these other groups that have proven to be very destructive to America. The Nation of Islam, in our 90-year history of being in this country, have never been convicted of any hate crime. Never. We've never even been accused of a hate crime. I want you all to think that over. Yet they ban the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and our official websites from social media. We've never even been accused of a hate crime. Never. Yet YouTube deletes the Nation of Islam and Final Call news channels. What is our crime? Look at the cover of the current edition of the Final Call newspaper. Presidential Crisis, American Chaos. Look at the top, divine warning in the time of God's judgment. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan absolutely is a warner from God, a divine warner. And he has been warning this country, these presidents, this government, absent his father, for the past 43 years. Yet, again, he's admonished them. He's warned them. But he nor any of his followers have never been guilty or found guilty of any sort of hate crime, nor have we ever been even accused. Yet, we find ourselves banned from these social platforms. I just want y'all to think about that, man. The Nation of Islam is considered a hate group. A hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center. I represent the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in the city of Denver. And in Denver, in our group, personally, here in Denver, is on the list of hate groups in the state of Colorado. I've been in the Nation of Islam 30 years in this city, and again, we have never, not one time, even been accused of a hate crime. So how are we a hate group if you've never even been accused of a hate crime, much less convicted? How are you a hate group when all you have is a history of lifting up your people, reforming drug addicts, pimps, prostitutes, criminals? How is that hate? Y'all gotta listen to me, man. Y'all gotta understand what you're looking at. The last few issues of the Final Call have been, I got the issue before this one. I just showed you 40 number 1, volume 40 number 1. This issue is volume 39 number 52. And this deals with the COVID vaccine controversy. All of these issues are dealing with, and even in this issue with Donald Trump, it has COVID issue. The issue before that, or one of the issues before that, the last 3 or 4 issues have been dealing with COVID-19 and the vaccines that they are trying to push down your and my throat, especially black people's throats, because we are more affected adversely by the COVID-19 pandemic than anyone else. Don't take their vaccine. That was another issue of the Final Call newspaper. COVID vaccine controversy grows. That's another issue of the Final Call newspaper. We just, in this last issue, just got off of the COVID-19 vaccine and us and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan warning us not to take it on this particular issue. But even in this issue, there's an article with dealing with the COVID vaccine that appears on page 5. Who can you trust? And it says Secret Data Monitoring Board doesn't increase confidence in politically tainted rush to create a COVID-19 vaccine. So I'm bringing up these COVID-19 vaccine articles and issues of the paper as evidence as to why they are banning or removing the Nation of Islam, the Final Call newspaper, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, from these social media platforms. See, they want to sell you a vaccine. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan already warned us on July 4th during his July 4th address entitled The Criterion that we should not take the COVID-19 vaccine. That vaccines take most of the time 8 to 10 years to develop an effective vaccine. And what you don't understand, if you haven't been reading these newspapers, if you haven't been following the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and really listening to his guidance with regards to these vaccines, is that vaccines are usually not treatment for viral infections. Vaccines are not even suggested until and unless a pandemic or an epidemic is so bad that it causes a certain fatality or mortality rate amongst the people that is unseemingly high. Now, you may say, well, we need a vaccine because the coronavirus is a very deadly virus. And I would tend to agree with you. The coronavirus is an extremely deadly virus. But how deadly? How deadly is it? How deadly should a virus be in order for you to develop a vaccine? And you say, well, I don't mind taking vaccines. I take the flu vaccine every year. Maybe you do. But the vaccines that are developed for extremely deadly viruses are only effective 30% of the time. Did you know that? I'm going to say that again. They're only effective 30% of the time. In this article that appears on page 5 and continues on page 37 of the Final Call newspaper, it reads, this is about vaccines. This is from our student national spokesperson, Dr. Ava Muhammad. I'm going to quote her. Quote, because vaccines have a history of injury and long-term side effects in many people and are effective less than 70% of the time, their use on the population requires a sufficiently high fatality rate from the disease to justify the risk. I'm going to say that again. Because vaccines have a history of injury and long-term side effects in many people and are effective less than 70% of the time, their use on the population requires a sufficiently high fatality rate from the disease to justify the risk. So they're effective less than 70% of the time, which means that they're only effective close to 30% of the time. And that includes the flu vaccine that you get every year. It continues. The major media outlets give raw statistics but no statistical analysis. Their objective is for the public to believe that a vaccine is the only solution for the virus. Therefore, the people allow the government to deny them access to every or ever increasing numbers of therapies that are proving successful in the control and recovery from it, meaning the virus. So when your president went into the hospital, they didn't give him a vaccine. They gave him therapeutics. They gave him a cocktail that they had never given to hardly anyone in the country, that was probably more expensive than most of our yearly salaries. They gave him some remdesivir. They gave him some vitamin D and some vitamin C. They gave him a steroid called dexamethasone. They gave him therapeutics to treat his COVID-19, but they did not give him a vaccine. So why are they trying to give you a vaccine? We got a theory about that. Hold on. I'm coming back. They didn't try to get that man a vaccine at all. They did not try to give that man a vaccine. And I'm sure they have some that are in the testing stages, but they didn't try to give President Trump a vaccine. So the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan warned us not to take their vaccines. He warned us that remember the polio vaccine that they gave us in the 50s and the 60s that turned out to be straight up cancer. He warned us to remember the Tuskegee experiment, where 400 of our brothers were allowed to cohabitate with their families and their women with the most virulent form of syphilis known to man at that time without being treated properly. They were given placebos to see what the outcome of this experiment was going to be. They're banning or deleting our accounts from YouTube, the Final Cause account, the Nation of Islam's account. They're banning the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, or they've already banned him, from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of these different social media platforms, because they fear what is coming out of his mouth. And it's not because we are plotting against the government, because we are absolutely not plotting against the government. God already has his sights set on this government, and there's nothing that they can do about it. He controls rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes, according to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He's responsible for the winds that keep blowing these fires that have America literally on fire. I could walk outside my door right now and smell the smoke. The air quality is horrible because America is on fire. California, Colorado, all of these different places with mountains and timber are on fire. down south, the hurricanes are swirling. There's so many hurricanes that they ran out of names. They're on their 25th or 26th named storm this season, and we're still early in the season. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan warned us that this time would come. In his article on this final call, it's entitled Divine Warning. Look at that at the top. Divine warning in the time of God's judgment. He's been warning us. He's been warning them. Listen, man. I just want to read something from this article that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan wrote, and it appears on page 20. And it was published, or it was first said March 16th, 2013. So 7 years ago. But this is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and he's teaching. Let me just quote. I just want to read this part. If you are not going to prepare your people to escape the judgment, then the scriptures teach us, woe to the shepherd who's feeding himself and not the flock. Don't you think that the people want to know what is going on around them? Don't you think they want to lift their head up from the slop trough and understand what God is doing to America and the world? Why is the economy failing? This is 7 years ago. Why are the people confused? This is 7 years ago. Why is the government unable to solve its economic dilemma? Why are the clouds of war forming? Why are there wars and rumors of wars? Listen to this part. Why is there drought? Why is pestilence coming? Why are earthquakes on the horizon? Now I want to stop right there. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, in this article, which was an excerpt from his 52-week lecture series entitled The Time and What Must Be Done, asked the question, why is there drought? Why is pestilence coming? Why are earthquakes on the horizon? Now, drought been in effect. Pestilence is what we call COVID-19. That's a pestilence from heaven. So teaches the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He warned us of these things. It continues, Son of man, God said, I'm setting you as a watchman over Israel. My father, Elijah Muhammad, was a watchman over this condition, this world, this people, this time, and he has prepared me the same to be a watchman over you. Divine warning. See, they would be better served to let the Nation of Islam's channel be, let the Final Call channel be, let the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan continue to warn, because as they try and silence him, God is going to amplify the calamities that you see. He's going to amplify them. It's not going to stop. So I just want to peek in, family. I want y'all to think that over, because that's a lot. I want you to pick up this edition of the Final Call newspaper, Presidential Crisis, American Chaos. And I want you to get that digital edition. You could go to finalcalldigital.com and pick that up. If you're interested in listening to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan excerpts and messages, as well as some of his music, go to and listen to Final Call Radio. All you have to do is go to finalcall.com and then click on the Final Call Radio icon, and you can hear the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan all day long. It's streaming. That's what I want you to do, family. I want you also, because I just published, by Allah's grace, my ebook, How to Get Rich in the Barber Cosmetology Game Handbook, by yours truly, Herman Muhammad. Many of you know that I'm a barber by profession. I've been in the business for 25 years, and there are a number of things that I have learned, tools that I have acquired with regards to keeping a business up and growing a business, especially the barber cosmetology business. And so go to astar2.com and click on the link. Click on the link. You can get either ebook or you could pick up the paperback. It's at astar2.com. I should have put that there. Let me see if I got my card. astar2.com. Pick up that book. Let me see. Yeah, there you go. You can go to my website, www.astar2.com. Just click on the link and you can get the book. Support your brother, support black business. But that's it, fam. We're gonna come back and we're gonna be talking some good stuff. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Subscribe to the Final Call, man. It'll make you an extremely wise person. And the other reason why, and I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna get out of here. They don't want you to look at the Nation of Islam, because they don't want you to have true solutions to the problems that face you and that face our people. The Nation of Islam, you really need to take another look at it, because the Nation of Islam and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, let me give you a shot of him. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who did absolutely predict the fall of America, which is what we're in right now, is the only leader that we've ever produced who came up with a programmatic solution to every problem that faced the so-called American Negro. He came up, I'm going to repeat that, with a programmatic solution to every problem that black people face. Some of you going to be like, man, I don't believe that. Look, man, every time you get a newspaper, a Final Call newspaper, on the back page of the Final Call newspaper is what we call the Muslim program. It has what the Muslims want and what the Muslims believe. But in it outlines solutions to the problems that we face. You worried about who you're going to vote for? Are you a black conservative or are you a black Democrat? You really ought not be either of them. You really need to start concentrating and concerting your efforts, putting your energy towards you and I doing something for ourselves and creating a government of our own. That is why they're removing the Nation of Islam's channel and the Final Cause channel from YouTube. That's why they're removing the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan from social media, because we advocate for black people to separate and to do our own thing. And the reality of it is that people are beginning to listen. So pay attention. Pay attention, family. If you're one of those people who don't think that separation is a viable solution, pay attention to what I'm saying. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that separation is the best and only solution to our problems, to every problem that we face with regards to white people in this country. That's not hate teaching, that's a fact. We've been amongst these people for 464 years and have not been able to get along in peace. They still kill us on the streets whenever they feel like it. Don't you think that it's time for us to do something different? If you're in a relationship for 20 years and your husband or your wife was whooping your backside every day for 20 years straight, wouldn't it be wise for you to get up out of that situation? That's enough of that. But we'll be back. We'll be black and we'll be strong. We're gonna come with some powerful content again. So if you're on YouTube watching this, or if you're on Facebook watching this, like and share. If you're on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe so that we can continue coming with some powerful content. We'll be black. But until then, you stay black and you stay strong. Check out our website locally here in the city of Denver. Let me give you that. NOI Denver. There we go. And you can go to noidenver.org to check out what we have going on in the city. We're not conducting meetings right now because of COVID-19, of course. But as soon as, we don't know when that's going to happen. But we will definitely alert you when we start having meetings again. But until then, go to noi.org and watch the webcast every day. The student assistant to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Brother Ishmael Muhammad, does a wonderful job every Sunday carrying the word. So log on to that national webcast and hear our brother Ishmael Muhammad. All right. So we're going to get out of here, family. We're going to get out of here. And I'm just going to remind you all to stay black, stay strong, and remember, always stand for something, because those who don't stand for something will fall for anything. Peace. We out. Here's our social media. And then we're going to give you a promo video of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's address on July 4th. Which one we're going to do first? We'll do that one first. Peace. We out.
America was not built on a firm foundation. The nation called America was doomed from its inception. How do you build a nation? Killing the native people. How do you build a nation? Bringing a whole people out of Africa to America to be made slaves. This is your foundation. The world is looking at a country going to hell. You are opting to be a part of that is unraveling right in front of your eyes. You see the country cascading downward. This is America. Why do you want to get into something that is coming to an end? So we are living in the time of the unraveling of this great nation.
From rags to riches to bad bitches, I had the vision, just added wisdom. A mathematician, a savage nigga. I got the stripes, I'm platted, nigga. Could live life being average, nigga. Had to go climb that ladder, nigga. I was broke as a joke, I was mad at niggas. Now I'm whipping to the bank, I'm laughing, nigga. Like ha 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 ha.